doing together today is a little out of the bag because I'm focusing on a classic, iconic takeaway food item that was probably famous in the early 70s and 80s and is still around today. I have a real soft spot for the classic Chicko Roll. You can make them at home. I've worked on this recipe. They are super delicious and will have everyone falling in love with them again. The secret lies in the pastry. Onto the dough, I've got 650 of plain flour in the bowl. I'm going to add 70 grams of corn flour straight in, along with a pinch of salt. Then you'll need 250 mils of cold water. Add 2 eggs and give it a bit of a whisk with a fork, and then pour that into the flour. After a minute, you end up with quite a shaggy dough. And we're going to knead this dough for about 5 to 10 minutes, and we're going to end up with a silken dough that looks like this. So once you have a very smooth texture, which you can see we're at that point, just need to wrap the dough and let it rest for 30 minutes at room temperature. While the pastry's resting, we'll make the filling. I'm putting chicken in the Chicko Roll, 500 grams of thigh. Now I'm using the thigh as opposed to breast because this cut is a lot juicier and they're skinless. So that'll go into the pan with some oil first. We're cooking over high heat. It'll take about 5 to 6 minutes to cook the chicken. We're going to season it right at the end with a couple of teaspoons of chicken stock powder and also that iconic flavour that is in a Chicko Roll. It's a curry powder. So chicken's done. In the same pan, we're going to cook some vegetables. So I've got 1 carrot finely diced, 5 spring onion, and 1/4 of a wombat cabbage, really finely shredded. While the vegetables are cooking, we're going to make up a gravy. Now, this is the base flavour, along with the curry powder on the chicken, that really brings the mix together. I've got a tablespoon of corn flour here. I'm going to add a little bit of white pepper, about a teaspoon. And to that mix, we'll add 2.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce, along with 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. Now, before we add the gravy, there's a few more things to hit the pan. I'm adding some toasted rice. This has been ground up really fine, but it's literally jasmine rice put into a fry pan and cooked till it turns a light brown. And then you just grind it up and you use it like a seasoning. And then follow in with 1 bundle of mung bean noodles. These have been soaked in hot water and snipped so they're in short lengths. In with the noodles, and in goes the chicken back into the pan and all the juices. And then stir that through and add that delicious gravy. You'll see it thickens up after about 1.5 minutes, and then you're done. And this will just cool while we roll our pastry out. Cut it into 4. And then roll each quarter into a square about 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres. At this stage, touching this pastry is just heavenly. It's silky smooth and very stretchy. I can almost feel how delicious it is. But if you really can't get your head around doing the pastry from scratch, you could use spring roll wrappers. But of course, you won't achieve that classic Chicko Roll finish. It'll be more like a spring roll. This is the glue, if you like, to secure the Chicko Rolls. It's just a 50-50 mix of corn flour and water and a brush. So taking a piece of pastry, or a couple, and I'll just run some of the corn flour mix along 3 edges, and then about 1.5 tablespoons of the mix itself at one end. And then you're literally rolling that up like that a little bit and securing the edge slightly, and then folding in on itself to seal the edges, and then rolling to close. Seam side down. Okay, that's my last one. That's 16 this mix makes. Now they can keep in the fridge for a day or two like this and cook them when you're ready. They take 6 minutes at 170 degrees, because remember, all you're doing is cooking the pastry on the outside and heating the mix through, because everything else is cooked. Now you can freeze them at this stage too, that's really good, but you will need to defrost them before you cook them. That's the last 2 Chicko Rolls fried. I serve it with a spicy sriracha style sauce, but it's totally up to you. A light soy would work as well. Get them while they're hot.